We want to get right to that breaking news in the Delphi murders case. Today, several big events unfolding really within just minutes of each other. The prosecutor wants to add more charges against Richard Allen, additional murder and kidnapping charges.
Also, the state Supreme Court justices heard arguments about who the attorneys and judge on the case will be. Allen is accused of killing Abby Williams and Libby German nearly 7 years ago.
And we start with these new charges, specifically 2 charges of murder and 2 charges of kidnapping. Scott Swan is here now, and a lot of big questions about this development and what it means. Scott?
Yeah, a lot of developments today, Dustin, and we want to go ahead and break that down tonight with our legal expert. Katie Jackson Lindsay is a local criminal defense attorney. Thanks so much, Katie, for joining us in studio.
Welcome. Thank you for having
So
me.
why did the prosecution decide to add 2 counts of felony murder and 2 counts of kidnapping in addition to the 2 counts of murder?
Well, only they can truly answer that, right, Scott? But it appears that the reason that they have given for doing so is that those charges were already inherent in the information that they had from the outset or at the conclusion of the investigation. So their position is that they're not really adding anything new, nothing that should be a surprise to the defense, but instead they are just adding charges that are more in line with what the evidence has shown.
All right, so maybe you can help explain to our viewers the difference between a murder charge and a felony murder charge.
Sure. So in Indiana, murder is the knowing or intentional killing of another human being. Felony murder means that you committed some other crime, some other felony, and during the course of that crime, someone died. And so under that theory, the state doesn't have to necessarily prove that Mr. Allen was the killer versus being able to prove that he was somehow involved in the killing, specifically involved in kidnapping the 2 victims.
Okay, so the addition of these felony murder charges and the kidnapping, does this give you any hint at all as to what the prosecution alleges Richard Allen did?
Well, it certainly leaves us room to now wonder whether or not they believe that there was another individual potentially involved.
Okay, so Abby and Libby were murdered nearly 7 years ago. Their families have been waiting for justice. Why, of all days, does the prosecution file amended charges today? Why not years ago, and why do they do it on the day that the Indiana Supreme Court is hearing oral arguments in this case?
Well, that's a legitimate question and a curious question for all of us, right? Having been a former prosecutor, I would say that it could be that they are continuing to work towards trial, continuing to work towards their case, despite all of the noise going on in the background with the procedural issues. And so as soon as they thought it was appropriate, they filed it. But I think it could certainly be argued from the defense's standpoint that they were opportunistic filing this today when the entire world has eyes on this case.
And does the felony murder charge lower the bar in terms of the prosecution having to go ahead and present evidence in this case in order to try and get a conviction?
From a defense attorney standpoint, it certainly does. It doesn't lower their constitutional burden of proving this case beyond a reasonable doubt, but it certainly lowers their factual burden, because with the felony murder charge, they don't have to prove that Richard Allen is the killer. They simply have to prove that he was involved in the kidnapping, and in some way the kidnapping resulted in Abby and Libby's death.
And finally, any idea how soon the judge in this case may rule on these amended charges?
Well, I think that comes back to how soon our Supreme Court will determine who the judge will be in this case, right? What we've learned from all of the recent pleadings and even from today's arguments, that time is of the essence. Justice delayed is justice denied, and that applies to both parties.
Katie Jackson Lindsay, a local criminal defense attorney, helping us better understand the developments today with these new amended charges. Dustin, Felicia?